Japan is covered with sacred sites we recognize, like Shinto shrines with their red torii gates and shimenawa ropes, and Buddhist temples with their grand halls and statues. But what's so special about this place? Believe it or not, this concrete staircase in Tokyo is actually a mecca for fans of Shinkai Makoto's famous 2016 animated film, Your Name. It's the site where the film's protagonists, Mitsuha and Taki, are reunited at the end of their star-crossed, time-jumping journey. It also happens to be a staircase leading up to the real-world Suwa Shrine, and one of the many stops on the Your Name fan pilgrimage route. In this video, we'll explore some of anime's sacred sites and the pilgrims that visit them.
What's up, Japan fans? I'm Kay, and if this is your first time clicking play, welcome to Eat, Pray, Anime, the channel where we explore together the religious history and culture behind your favorite Japanese media. If that's your jam, click subscribe and join me on this journey. Today's video is on a topic I find endlessly fascinating: anime pilgrimage.
The Japanese phrase seichi junrei generally refers to someone journeying to any kind of seichi or sacred site, like a mountain, a shrine, a temple, or a power spot. But when it comes to pop culture, the category of sacred site is even broader. It often features traditionally sacred sites like Suwa Shrine in Tokyo or Washinomiya Shrine in Saitama. But it can also include production studios, an artist's home or workplace, factories where fan commodities are manufactured, shopping destinations like Akihabara, and even maid cafes. In other words, any place that contributes to the mediated worlds that fans value is a potential sacred site and travel destination. And because there are so many places of interest to fans of a particular franchise, they often work together to collect, curate, and share a list, or as the famous otaku scholar Azuma Hiroki would put it, a database of sacred sites, which become a pilgrimage route for fans to follow.
Anime pilgrimage itself might only be a few decades old, but it's part of a more than 1,000 years of history of travel for both religious and entertainment purposes in Japan.
Travel to sacred sites began in the 700s during the Nara period, but it took a few centuries to really catch on in the Heian period. These travelers or pilgrims often visited sacred mountains, where various deities and spiritual powers were thought to reside. Over time, as religious traditions grew and transportation improved, pilgrimage became one of the things to do. There was a huge explosion of popular religious travel in the Edo or Tokugawa period between the 16 and 1800s.
Edo period pilgrimage practices continue to have a huge impact on pilgrimage today.
For example, it's still popular to visit the Ise shrines at least once in a lifetime, and the 88 sacred sites that make up the Shikoku pilgrimage is one of the most famous routes of all time. We can even see its influence in popular lists of the top 88 anime sacred sites, like those advertised by the Anime Tourism Association every year.
At first, pilgrimage might sound like a really serious, no-nonsense sort of undertaking. But like any act of play, travel in pre-modern Japan was a way to transcend the limitations, expectations, and experiences of everyday life and just have some fun.
This is particularly true for women, especially noble women, whose travel and activities were generally more restricted. However, women were able to travel for the sake of going on a pilgrimage, and we see lots of images of women and diary entries that tell us about all their adventures, which offers an exciting glimpse into their lives.
Sacred sites were centers of entertainment as well as spiritual power. People often found out about various places of interest along pilgrimage routes from guidebooks, which told people about a certain area's specialty foods, crafts and souvenirs, shopping districts, and sightseeing spots. When you think about it, that's not so different from reading up on a place before you visit on a blog like Kotaku or Tofugu. Pilgrimage was as much about the journey as it was the destination, and people used religious travel as an opportunity to have fun and just meet people, as well as make spiritual connections. So how old exactly is the practice of anime tourism? Well, it's part of a larger cultural phenomenon after World War II called contents tourism. But before you start imagining that anime tourism and contents tourism are a uniquely Japanese thing, let me stop you right there. It's a much bigger phenomenon. People from all different cultures travel around the world to visit places that are connected to their favorite media.
For example, in the cop comedy show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, protagonist Jake Peralta, played by Andy Samberg, is obsessed with the Die Hard movie series, and he takes hundreds of pictures when he visits Fox Plaza, the real-life building used in Die Hard as Nakatomi Plaza. I have a friend, let's call him Sato-sensei, who is a huge, and I mean huge, Sherlock Holmes fan. He's even visited Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's home and the Sherlock Holmes Museum at 221B Baker Street in London in full costume.
Personally, I fell in love with the landscape of New Zealand while watching the Lord of the Rings movies, and someday I would love to go see the Hobbit hole sets that they still have there.
So no, contents tourism is not just a Japanese thing, but it's also no surprise that a lot of anime sacred sites are located in Japan.
Scholars started noticing travel motivated by anime in the 1990s, and one of the earliest examples is Hikawa Shrine from Sailor Moon, the hereditary Shinto shrine that Rei Hino, aka Sailor Mars, takes care of as a shrine maiden.
Fun fact, there are actually 3 different Hikawa shrines in the Tokyo area related to Sailor Mars's shrine family. Azabu Hikawa Shrine related to the manga, Akasaka Hikawa Shrine related to the anime, and Shirokane Hikawa Shrine used as a filming location in the live-action television series.
Another classic example of anime sacred sites is Washinomiya Shrine located in Saitama, which is the inspiration for the Takanomiya Shrine in the anime Lucky Star.
Why do people choose to go on an anime pilgrimage? Otakuologists like Patrick Galbraith suggest that fans primarily want to connect and communicate with their favorite fictional characters from the 2-dimensional fictional world in the 3-dimensional physical world. As we'll see, anime fans' activities recreate these 2D worlds in the 3D world, creating a liminal or in-between space called the 2.5D or dimensional world, where the fictional and physical meet. 2.5D space opens up a whole new world of possibilities in terms of relationships between human beings and characters.
In this way, 2.5-dimensional space isn't so different from liminal sacred spaces when you think about it.
Both traditional religious pilgrimage and anime pilgrimage overlap different layers of reality on top of one another. For example, in mountain religions, different sites might connect to different deities or historical figures and create a replica, a map, or a mandala of Buddhist cosmology. In the same way, anime pilgrimages assign different levels of meaning to sacred sites, both fictional and physical, which together form a whole narrative world. And let's not forget that anime fans also connect and communicate with each other. Through their travels and activities, they legitimize and share their values, interests, and experiences.
So what do anime pilgrims do at the sacred sites they visit to bring these 2.5D worlds to life?
For one thing, as you might expect from any kind of tourist, they take lots of pictures. A lot of these photos are meticulously shot to perfectly match specific frames or cells from the source media. Anime pilgrims often post these photos online in forums or on blogs, side by side with screenshots to prove their knowledge of the material and show that that place really does exist and that they've personally been there. Another hallmark of anime pilgrimage is the creation of illustrated prayer boards called Ita-ema. Ema literally translates as horse picture, and they started out as substitutes for real horses given as offerings to the kami, Shinto deities at shrines. Instead of transforming something 2D into 3D, they made something 3D 2D. Today, you'll see traditional Ema plaques hanging on an Ema board at your average shrine in Japan, pre-stamped with the image of a horse or other symbols associated with the shrine and its deities. Visitors write prayers or messages of gratitude on the blank side, kind of like a message board for the kami.
Anime pilgrims take Ema to the next level by adding their own illustrations and addressing the anime's characters as if they were the deities of the physical shrine. These Ema are often called Ita-ema or painful Ema, referring to the social stigma that hardcore anime fans and otaku face in mainstream society, which often labels them as weird, out of touch with reality, or even perverse or pathological.
But the pain can also represent the painstaking work it takes to create really excellent anime-ema. These artistic efforts are a public show of labor, proving their devotion to the fandom, to the characters, creators, and other fans. In his study of the ema left by fans of the anime Higurashi at a physical shrine associated with the show, scholar of religion and media Dale Andrews finds that fans often leave messages that position anime characters as deities themselves. Some will leave prayers or requests for the characters, such as for good grades or help with their love life. Fans even crossed out the name of the real-world shrine and its deities and replaced them with the anime shrines and the characters' names. In addition, fans may leave untraditional offerings of food or goods because of their connection to the anime. For example, the deity Hanyu in Higurashi loves offerings of cream puffs, and the shrine priests at the real shrine often find cream puffs left near the offering boxes. This is similar to how some people will leave fried tofu, said to be the favorite snack of foxes, at shrines dedicated to the Shinto deity Inari, who employs foxes as divine messengers. In a sense, anime pilgrims deify the characters and make them real by situating them in the physical world and using historical religious practices to communicate with them.
In other words, anime pilgrimage doesn't just imagine 2D characters and worlds in 3D space, it actually materializes them. Believe it or not, this is only the tip of the anime pilgrimage iceberg. You don't want to miss my next episode on how anime is actually changing religion in Japan. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and ring the bell to get notifications when I post new videos. In the meantime, if you want to join our ongoing conversation on the Eat Pray Anime Discord server and get behind the scenes sneak peeks, then join our Patreon community. The link is in the description below. As always, there's a complete list of my sources down there too. Until next time, don't forget to eat, pray, and watch anime.